All right. So that brings us to the end of the presentations. We'll wrap up here by, I'd like to introduce Joe Gagnon, who's the Chief Operating Officer of OneUp Health. And I'll do a very short bio. Joe might do more, we'll see. But Joe is the founder of the High Performance Life, which is a brand that Joe has created, and there are many aspects to it. But it really centers around his mission to help others achieve their full potential. And that's what Joe is doing in his role at OneUp. He's helping the company and the organization achieve our full potential. He has the responsibility for strategy and daily execution across the business, which includes leading the functions of sales, marketing, finance, HR, implementation, and operations. And we were able to steal him for a few minutes amidst all of those responsibilities. So Joe, we had an awesome day, a lot of speakers, some incredible insights were shared, and we'll hand the baton to you to take us home.
All right, well, Nolan, thanks. I was enjoying listening, and I think you have a good role there as a moderator, so well done. Yeah, and so just, before I jump into some final comments, at a personal level, I find this whole idea of data interoperability sort of stunning and monumental in any of our personal lives, because if you really are about optimization, what you know is that the data that you have at your disposal changes the way you live. I mean, we wear these watches that track our sleep, our activity, our heart rate. We can have apps that tell us about our nutrition. There's so much that we know at a personal level, and yet it needs to connect back into the core of our health data in the health system, whether that's from a provider or the payer, maybe even more broadly to all people who might be like us who we don't know. There could be some person like Joe Gagnon out in Portland, Oregon, who lives a similar lifestyle that I could benefit from knowing at a population health level, what's going on in his or her life that would help me better think about optimizing my performance, my life, my financial situation. And, the truth of the matter is what we talked about today is sort of foundational to that. I've been waiting for this moment for many, many years, and which is why I really wanted to join Ricky and the team last year, because, as we think about, FHIR as an enabler, I think the world has the potential to truly change. And so I'm not exactly sure how many of you have stuck with us the whole day. And if you have, a huge thanks. I appreciate that you're still here. And, very shortly we'll get back to your day job or your night commitments. And yeah, to Nolan's point, it was quite an amazing day. Every time you set up an event like this, you get sort of a little worried that it's going to all come together. And I think it really did. We'll talk about the speakers in a second, but overall, an amazing day. Great speakers with great ideas, a bit of a glimpse into the future of what's possible, and a whole bunch of practicality, which is really important to us. And you got it all in one easy to access forum. We are truly thrilled to support and sponsor this event. This is our third time we've done a VHC, and you can expect we're going to do this going forward in the future. As Ricky mentioned at the outset, FHIR really has truly arrived, and it is a unifying thread across healthcare. I mean, this is the first time that claims and clinical data have come together in the same format, and that's not an understatement of how important that is. And it's going to help us uncover new opportunities, ultimately to live longer, healthier lives. More functionality, more capability, time to run, time to spend time with your family, do work, whatever it is. And I don't think we fully understand how big of an impact FHIR is going to be. That the data standard itself is something, But what we heard about today is that the next 3 to 5 years are going to be very exciting. I think our clinicians and our healthcare workers and the system actually operates very well at that sort of personal knowledge level. But we have yet to incorporate all of the reams of content and data that could help us do better at what we do. Whether that's even not just an EMR and a claims record, but, sensor data over time, radiology data, genomic data, and then that all important one day patient reported outcomes and data that we've tracked. All of this can end up in FHIR. And as you heard today, we're going to be able to access in real time this data to allow us to make better and faster decisions. It'll even get more interesting as AI and machine learning start to touch on, how it is we think about the analytics that can come out of this, the patterns of data, the insights, and the ability to act and operate. To the best degree possible, I think we saw, in a somewhat scary way with the pandemic over the past year, that the mRNA vaccine was driven from, 17 years of modeling, but it really was an algorithm that figured out how to take a pandemic and bring it down to its knees. Once we started getting vaccinated, our death rate and hospitalization rate went down significantly, and driven by researchers, powered by data. That is a glimpse into the future in a very, very deep way. I think it's going to be really, really exciting. Ricky also thanked the people who have, I think, sometimes you forget that people who set standards are actually game changers. We'll go back in time and think about Tim Berners-Lee and the World Wide Web Consortium and HTML and HTTP. Those standards changed how we think about sharing data on the World Wide Web, and FHIR is doing the same, driven by people like Graham and Ken and Josh, Dan and Nish, Virginia, all of our friends at the work groups like Da Vinci and Karen and the Fireball Analysis Alliance, and, this is, there's often, sometimes I think when we go to these committee meetings, we wonder if what we're doing has an impact. And I think, on July 1st, we're all going to know that the ideas that were conceived years ago, that went through all the committees, that got into the hands of the ONC and CMS, that are now all of our friends and customers and players in the industry are starting to use. We will see the benefits of that come to life when a patient can access via a patient app their claims data on July 1st, something they've never really been able to do before. Today we really did have the best minds in the world talking about FHIR interoperability. Alex Muggy from CNS and Steve Posnack from ONC talking about regulations. It's really important for us to embrace that and also thank them for their work. Our panel, I thought lots of great insights about APIs. And, who would have thought 10 or 15 years ago that APIs would be at the center of how we think about technology? But boy, have they sort of redefined for us, almost like currency has around the world redefined the ability to do commerce. APIs are allowing technology to work as never before. It was fun to listen to Kyle, and then the panel moderated by Anisha. That was just awesome. When you think about what people and the people on the panels today were talking about, it's clear that we're not just at the early stage, but real progress have been made. Wrapping up almost, Jocelyn Linnell, who really talked about how Da Vinci Group is making real insight and moving us forward. And then it was fun to listen to Matt and Paul, practitioners working right in the middle of this with Aetna and Oscar Health. Wouldn't have happened, of course, without the One Up Health team, who worked tirelessly to pull this off. A huge, shout out to Christina Butenko, who, as you all know, she's a really determined and amazing person who is the center of putting this on, who wants to give credit to everyone else, but we really want to thank her for this. And then a huge thanks to everyone who attended the virtual health conference. We hope you enjoyed the day as much as we did. We will do this again. We'll have one in the fall, and we will make sure to have the content as engaging and entertaining and valuable as it was today. Thanks very much. Hope you have a wonderful day, and we're looking forward to July 1st, like each and every one of you are, in a very, very deep and exciting way, and then move into the summer, I think, free and clear of that deadline that has been looming over us for so long. Thanks again. Really appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.